Built in 1871, the St. George, Utah Temple was the first temple in the West. Constructed with stone masonry and covered in a bright white plaster, this temple was built to serve southern Utah, parts of Nevada, and Arizona.
It was the first temple built in Utah by early church pioneers under the direction of Brigham Young. It's also the longest operating temple of the church.
During a press conference, members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints announced the extensive renovation process and the reasons for closure to begin November 4th, 2019.
In some ways, there's really intrepidation because we know it represents a day of closure coming soon that we would like to avoid.
Current codes are not what they used to be in 1871, as you can imagine, and so because of that, there are modifications that we need to make, especially those of a mechanical modification, including air conditioning, heating, ventilation, etc.
Boasting around 90,000 patrons, this temple is a sacred place of peace which has been visited and cherished by generations of family members for nearly 150 years.
The St. George, Utah Temple serves approximately 12,000 youth and 90,000 adult members of the church who live in parts of Utah, Nevada, and Arizona.
We were married here in the St. George Temple 51 years ago, and we have 7 children. They've all been married here in the same room that we were, and his ancestors were here. His great-grandpa helped build the temple, and his grandmother tells stories of how they would cook and bring food to the workers, and so the history's there, and it's sacred to us.
The St. George Temple has been renovated a number of times since its completion. The tower was replaced in 1883 at the same time as the first annex was constructed. Major renovations that included changing floor plans occurred in 1917, 1938, and 1975. Now, after almost 150 years of service, the temple again needs renovation.
We will demolish and reconstruct most of the temple annex that was constructed in the 1970s. The new annex will include a new kitchen, cafeteria, laundry, and other support spaces.
The temple will also be structurally reinforced.
New steel framing will be added to strengthen the original wood floor, trusses, and joists. The work will also include upgrades to the stone parapets and tower structure to brace and strengthen these systems.
The entrance to the temple will also be demolished and rebuilt.
This is the existing temple entrance on the north side of the temple. This annex, seen here, was constructed in the 1970s. This is the approved rendering of the new annex and north entrance to the temple. We will construct a new stair tower to replace the existing one that was constructed in the 1970s. It will meet current code requirements and better match the historic architecture and fenestration of the exterior of the temple. The new addition will include a grand stair and 2 elevators to access all floors of the historic building. The architecture of the new annex will be complementary and supportive of the historic building. The furnishings and accessories will be consistent with the beauty and dignity of the temple. We will install new murals inspired by the murals that were removed in the 1970s. We will add historic bench seating and period-style lighting. We will preserve most of the existing trees and add many more for additional shade.
While those who visit this temple will miss their walks and worships both inside and out, they will still have the options of visiting other temples.
I'll feel bad about it not being open, but they need to redo, and so that's what I'll go along with.
During the project, the St. George Visitor Center will remain open, but there will be no access to the temple site, and surrounding churches will also welcome members. Those who love this temple are looking forward to the completion of the renovation of this historic temple and dedication events to follow in 2022.
We anticipate a wonderful temple open house for which we will invite all members of the community, those of our faith and those not of our faith, to enter the temple, to see for themselves the beautiful renovation that's occurred, and to have an opportunity to learn more about the significance of temples to members of the church.
3 years, but can you imagine the beauty that's going to be here and the excitement that will resonate throughout this community?
I was thinking the pioneers would be shouting for joy to have this jewel in the desert that is going to become such a beautiful, even more beautiful than it is at the present time.
From the St. George Temple, Melissa Anderson with McKinley McQuiston, Community Education News.